No.
We spent a lot of time on the cookbook, so we didn't have enough time because we only have at 9 p.m.
I know.
That's it. We have one more airing of both the omega-3 and the vitamin K2 MK7, and we just have a couple of minutes now to talk about so my apologies, there'll be a clock coming up quickly.
Yes.
So we'll spend a little bit of time at 9 p.m. talking about both omega-3 and vitamin K2 MK7, both of which the quantity is getting lower. Just in a nutshell on vitamin K2 MK7 before Shannon talks about the savings, this is a vitamin. I used to always talk about vitamin D as sort of being the Rodney Dangerfield of vitamins, that vitamin C was getting all the press and vitamin E was getting all the press, and even B12. And we're talking now about 30 years ago. This is back when everyone knew who Rodney Dangerfield was. He's the comedian who, what did he grab his tie and go, I just don't get any respect.
Yes, exactly.
So I said that about vitamin D, but now finally, vitamin D gets its respect. Your doctor should be telling you what your vitamin D level is. It's a critical number to know in terms of our long-term health and well-being. And vitamin K2 has sort of taken on that mantle of not getting the respect. Unfortunately, vitamin K1 and K2, I think they're easily confused. So we assume that vitamin K2 is just another version of the blood clotting vitamin K1. Nothing could be further from the truth. Vitamin K2 plays a critical role in how we manage something that we have a large reservoir of calcium in our body. In fact, all our cells have calcium in them. The bulk of our calcium is preserved in a reservoir we call our bones. So it plays a role in the strength and integrity of our bones, but it also plays a role as the reservoir of calcium for the rest of our body. But we want that calcium to remain in the reservoir. We don't want it to go in tissues that it isn't playing a principal role in. We don't want it to be calcifying our arteries. We don't want it to be calcifying in, say, our flexible tissues of our joints. So we want that calcium to stay where it's supposed to stay. And of course, the bone is very dynamic tissue. Some people think of our bones as being sort of this dead, fixed tissue. Our bone is actually very dynamic tissue. It's constantly getting remodeled. So we need to make sure that part of that system is keeping the calcium where it's supposed to be and not having it infiltrate where it ought not be. In the arteries, say, where calcification could cause a loss of really resiliency and flexibility of our arteries, and our cardiovascular health is really dependent on the flexibility and resiliency of our arteries. And vitamin K2 MK7 is really that traffic cop that determines and that makes sure that calcium stays where it's supposed to stay and doesn't end up where it's not supposed to end up.
And if you are not taking calcium, you still need it. So even if
if you're not taking calcium,